Hello, thanks for tuning in to CMC Stamps with Trisha Williams. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I'm going to show you some cool things today. Today, get ready to do some cool pop-up cards. Oh yeah, pretty fun. Okay, let's get started. We have got this beautiful pop-up card. It's just so much fun. I love it. You'll have a blast with it. Okay, so just to let you know, during the video, I'm just going to be posting dimensions and materials that you need. But we did use the Balloon Adventures stamp set. Hopefully you can see it without a glare. Balloon Adventure stamp set. And we used this really cool cutters. Okay, so we're going to start with this big one. I'm going to move my samples out of the way. And we'll go ahead and grab this white piece of paper that we need. And pull a big shot up forward, okay? Stampin' Up, I just watched their video on this and it was really instructional, so check it out if you want some extra help. But they said basically to build it, normally you'd have this in and then build it, but they say to build it on the outside first. And there's a score line, so I scored it right in the dead center of this white paper. And the score line will help me know where my center is. So the cutter side goes down, up and down. So then you put it on here, just get it all built. And just make sure it looks aligned straight and that you think you have about the same distance at the top than you have at the bottom. And that your score line is centered, which mine wasn't perfectly centered there. Now it is. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put this so it feeds through. Make sure that your edges won't get caught on the sides. And then I get one of my most clear tops. It's not completely beat up. And we're going to go ahead and run it through the big shot. So we'll go all the way through, and the cool thing is you just need to go through it once. And we're done with the big shot, so I'm going to move it out of the way, which is nice. And I take it off. It kind of sticks, but I'm going to take it off and just set those things aside. Okay, so you can do a couple ways. You can pop out all your little pieces or just kind of pull, and some of the pieces will come out on their own, which is really cool. So a lot of them stayed in there. So I love this die. It makes it so easy. So what it does for you is it gives you this really cool banner. So it kind of indented there, a little banner image for you. And it also cut. And so sometimes you just need to get these little pieces cut out. And another thing that I do sometimes, because I'm funny, is I run a brush on the back and it gets rid of some of the little pieces that are there. Okay, so let's go on to the next step. All right, so I just went ahead and grabbed my little tray and my brush to show you guys how I just lightly brush and it gets off some of the extra little pieces that I have. I use this paper piercing tool sometimes when I'm doing like an intricate cutout, and I'll just pop out the extra pieces like that. So if you're having a hard time with some of the extra pieces, that's how you get them all out and then ready to use again. Okay, now you're seeing that it scored on a line here. So sometimes I find that it doesn't score exactly how you want it to, so I kind of just line it up. Then I use my bone folder and go down across. Just make sure it scores the way I want it to. Perfect. And then there is the score line that we added beforehand. So I will have the dimensions up, but I believe I just scored it at 4 1/4. And then just to help it along, I just went ahead and scored those extra spots. So it scores as a mountain going up, and this one's going to fold back in towards the rest of your balloons, and just be very gentle that we get the score line exactly where we want it. And there you go. So sometimes it lines up perfectly like this, and sometimes it's ski-wampus. Don't worry, it will still open pretty. Okay, we're going to go back to leaving it flat, and we are going to stamp it. So probably stamp before you fold, but sometimes I get ahead of myself. Okay, so I am going to use the first yellow color to do this little guy here with the solid balloon from my stamp set. Okay, Okay, so just inking it up evenly, and this is a really important stamp to get very even. And you're not going to see perfectly when you go to stamp, but it is a photopolymer, so it helps you kind of see through it and kind of make sure that you're in the right spot. And I do not want to put my head over you guys, so I'm going to try to line it up best I can. And then you just want to make sure that you have best contact on the paper, so you can kind of tell if it's made contact, and it has, because that score line sometimes makes it a little tough to make it perfect. Alrighty, let's go on to our next balloon. I am going to do the next balloon in Pacific Point, very pretty blue, and we're doing these little striped balloons off to the right. So it's really fun. Gosh, stamping is so relaxing to me. I hope it is for you too. Okay, this one right here goes off to the right. I'm just laying my paper flat and gonna get my head out of the way so you guys can see. And then like before, just make sure you press and hold for a little bit so the contact is good. And I am actually really impressed with how well that stamped. Okay, we've got our last balloon, which I'm gonna do an Emerald Envy. And these cute little kind of polka dots. I love polka dots and stripes. I love it all. So we're gonna do this one next. All right, just getting enough ink on there, which it should be inked up fairly well. And we're gonna do the balloon on the left. All right, so just hold long enough, make contact, and it is beautiful. I almost do better when I'm not trying so hard. Like everything in life, right? Okay, the next one is like the trickiest to get it fully lined up. I'm using Tangerine Tango, which is really pretty kind of coral orange color. And it's this really cool banner that we got to get lined up that comes in the stamp set. Just make sure it's inked up and that your stuff is as flat as you can get it. All right, so this one is really tricky to get perfect. Don't worry, just do it. It'll look gorgeous. Just make sure that you hold it long enough that it stays down. See, that's not too bad actually. You get it pretty centered, especially if you're like me and you're not trying too hard. All right, so we'll do the Party On last. Stamp that baby on there. Oh, cool. I like how it's turning out. Okay, now this is the part that I couldn't find a very good tutorial on, is how to put it inside your card. A couple people showed me how to do it a little bit and then just experimenting. So it's really hard to make sure you get it so it's lined up exact and that it pops the way you want it to. At first I just did this one side and then I tried to do the other, but then I found out it was easier to kind of put it together like this because that's how it folds. And get the green glue because you can move it for a couple seconds, you know, before it dries. And just very sparingly put green glue around your borders and a little bit in the middle. And then I went pretty close to my edge, as you can see on there, and I got it pretty straight. Okay, so then I folded it up like this, like a little accordion. And the only reason I did that is it just made it a little easier to open. And I got a little green glue, not a big deal, got some off on my finger. And then I pulled this one down towards it. And of course it doesn't look, wow, actually that one turned out pretty perfect, right where I wanted to. And you know, the green glue can be moved around for a couple seconds, but I really liked, and it closes nicely. Sometimes it does this little foldy thing. Don't get worried, it's just the way it closes. Okay, now let's go ahead and finish up the inside of my card. You can use either Snell or any kind of other adhesive that you have, but I've got the green glue right here and it's fast and easy, so I'm going to use it. One of my favorite things to use is the green glue, and the reason why is because it gives me room to move it around a little bit. So if I don't like it, I can move it, but I do get dirty fingers, so pick and choose your favorite adhesives. I call it the green glue. It's multi-purpose Tombow glue. All right, we're doing our next side. So you can see now that it's actually a pretty fast card. It's not very hard. And I will put up the dimensions of everything. Okay, I got this really cool washi tape from the Party Animal set. I just love it. I thought it kind of gave it a good dividing, like a good divider, makes it look kind of like it's a separate piece of paper, but it's just washi tape. So you just go along, cut, do your other side, and then the inside of your card is all ready for you to sign or put anything fun like an invitation on there, which I'm going to do for my little boy's 3-year birthday party. Oh, I can't believe he's already 3. Goes by so fast. Okay, so we got the inside done. Let's go ahead and do the outside. You could do the outside first if you want, always. Okay, I'm going to do some snail now so you can see how it's used. And this time I'm going to do these really cool candles on the front. Like this one I did the cake. But I like to switch it around. And I just do a little bit on my corners. Not a ton. Doing it really fast now because I want to get to the next card. So the next thing is baker's twine. It's really pretty baker's twine that you just pull around. And we're going to tie it. So you want a little bit more length on your right side than your left because we're going to tie it off to the left. Okay, so tie it like you're tying your shoelaces. And then grab your first loop and your second loop. We'll go around and under, and then trying to keep the tension, just pull tight. And what happened with mine is I just barely have it coming out. So I'm going to try to pull some of it. And make it so that the ends are long. So you can kind of mess around with tying it. But then you're going to flip this around. And trust me, tying ribbons takes practice. And I'm not a pro. I just practice. Practice, practice, practice. Okay, I have used my Stampin' Dimensionals, cut them into halves. And people that stamp with me know that I like to do this. Just because sometimes you don't need a full. You just don't need a full piece. So why use one when you don't need it? That's my opinion. So I'm putting one on each corner very quickly. We're going to take off the backing. And then we got to go ahead and place it. And you can always retie a ribbon if you don't like how it looks. I also used some of the cool washi tape on the front right here to do those 3 blocks of colors. That's all it is washi tape, and I just cut it where I wanted it to look. All right, so I like that right there. I'll go ahead and put it down on my corners, and I could obviously retie my bow, and then there you go. All done. So that's a pretty fast card. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed making these fun pop-up cards. All right, check me out on my next video where I make the holder for a gift card. All right, thank you so much. Bye. Well, that's all it. You made it to the end. You did it. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to check me out at cmcstamps.com. Also, if you don't have a demonstrator already, I'd love to help you out and get started with some fun Stampin' Up! Product.